Well, Shashank, our finalists are decided. New Zealand getting over West Indies in probably one of the closest matches we've had of the tournament.
Yeah.
It was a thriller. But I think the first point that stood out for me was New Zealand almost a little bit of a changing of the guard. We often talk about Sophie Devine, Susie Bates being the older members of the team, the more experienced members of the team, but the young spinners led by Eden Carson with 3 wickets really came to the fore today. They only had a small total to defend. She held her nerve against some of the biggest hitters in the game, and they managed to get over the line. So I think that was a big plus for New Zealand going into the final. West Indies, it all went a little bit wrong. Tell us about your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, the series of injuries that they had in the lead up to the game didn't help. Haley Matthews taking a knock on the thumb and sore thumb, having to battle through that. Stephanie Taylor, um, wonky knees, having to take injections, having to have heavy strapping. The discomfort was evident, and she couldn't run, and that kind of led them in the middle to rely a lot on the big hitting options, which they succeeded briefly, but the inability to milk singles and doubles in the middle overs kind of led to an escalation of the run rate, so that kind of led to more pressure. Then we saw a horrific injury that you don't want to see from Chinal Henry. She went off with concussion, so there was a lot of chaos around having a concussion substitute come back in. So all of it kind of contributed to West Indies having a little more to do. I think they gave it their best. They've had to come through a lot of adversities during the campaign with injuries and everything else. Unfortunately, they ran out of gas when it really mattered the most.
And I guess the last one that we should talk about is those 2 players that I mentioned, the stalwarts of the New Zealand side, I should say, Sophie Devine and Susie Bates.
Yeah.
They finally get a shot at another T20 World Cup final since 2010. And you can bet that every single player in that team is going to want to do it for them. So, yeah, I can't wait to see how they come together in the final for those 2.
Yeah, there was a very poignant moment on the field, when Susie came in to bowl that final over, and also when she took a catch diving forward at cover. She was the first one to run towards Sophie Devine, and then the kind of celebrations that they had kind of told you how much this meant to them to kind of give themselves a shot at glory after 14 long years.
For sure, and she has done that before. She's a little bit of a toward the end of the match specialist, likes to roll her arm over and showed she's still got it. Let's see if she does that again in the final.